The two weirdest and most difficult of all the Bonika Shears screws. This one is so bad. We discontinued the shear just because we didn't want to fool with the screw. So if you're a sharpener, you need to know how to work with these if you see them. This one's pretty easy. This one, not so easy. So, always believe in doing the easy one first. So this is the easy one. You look at it and you say, oh, it's just an adjustable screw. You just turn it. But then you look on the back. You see that? That looks sort of like it is a teeny tiny screw. And you think, oh, I need a little tiny screwdriver to get this off. Because when you go to turn this, it's just not, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Well, the way this one works, it's simpler than you think. This pretty mother of pearl nut is just decorative. If the customer turns it right and left all day long, it's not going to tighten or loosen the shear. What does it is this underneath. And you just need a regular screwdriver to take this shear apart or adjust it or tighten it or loosen it. And then this, you see the threads? Just goes back in it, and it has like a little washer like you put on the finger rest. So in taking these tribal shears apart, you need to make sure you have a large enough screwdriver. A little tiny one won't work. I was having trouble with my screwdriver bit and the screwdriver getting this out. So I'm picking up my handy dandy scissor pliers. So it might be good to see how these are done. I put this in here because you can put whatever, bits that you need. And then get that adjusted in the hole. And typically I'm turning the shear. So I want lefty-loosey, so I want the screw to go this way. And I'm turning the shear, see, more than I'm keeping that in the spot. Once I get it to a certain looseness, I'll probably switch over to my screwdriver. And that's how I get the screw out. And as you see, it's just a split screw with the wide head and the place to screw in the decorative little mother of pearl. So that is the tribal shear, and that's how you deal with that screw. This is the one that's the joy. And we do have others that you can replace this with if you lose it. We tell them in the warranties that decorative parts are not covered by the lifetime warranty. So we'll have the screw hold, and we can make it hold, but this little decorative part, you see how that's just really popped in there. Just a little bit of glue to hold it in, and it's popped in. So hopefully I won't have to replace that. This is a UFO type of screw. Let's take this apart. You'll hear it clicking because it's got a little internal clicker plate. This is the Peacock Shear. I don't know if I happened to mention that. And it's one of the prettiest shears we ever came out with, but it's also one of the silliest screws of any of the shears we came out with. So it's one I've kind of lived to regret. Cuts nice, looks nice, but it's a pain in the butt for the sharpeners. And we try to design everything to make sharpeners' lives easier. So this comes out, this comes off, but you can't really get this out. You see that? So how would you do the ride line if you can't push this out? Well, if you don't want to risk losing this piece, you may want to just use your arc hones to do the ride line on this side, so you don't have to really pop that all the way out. But I want to pop this out just so you can see it. You see it popped up? And that is glued on here. And I'm going to have to add some glue to put it back. Has a washer in there. And that shear is taken apart. Let me sharpen it, and then we'll come back about putting it back together and what we're going to do. My grandmother had a word called anger-provoking. I just sharpened the shear. I just put the screw back in, thought I was recording all that, and I hadn't. And I really don't want to have to take this thing apart and show you again. So I'm going to walk you through how I put the screw together. And just know that things don't always happen perfectly. But in spite of my mistakes, if you like what you're seeing, let me know. Put a like down there, put a comment if this has been helpful to you, and if you come across some other weird screws. So what I did on this, let me show you the piece, what came off of this. We already talked about this. Now, I did not have to replace it. This is the original that's back on here. When you saw me pop it out, when I put it back on, I needed a little bit of glue underneath here to hold that into place. And the glue I chose to use was a glue that I knew would be waterproof, that would hold it there, but you would be easily to take it back out again. What did I use? Hot glue gun. And this is the high temperature. It's the dual temp. Works fine. And I've been using it on more and more things in sharpening. And I just put, you don't want to put, and what you missed was my mistake I made. You don't want to put glue down in that well in here. You want to put the glue on this section right there. So I actually put the glue on the body, on the neck of the shear, but not on the pivot hole. And once I put the glue there and I got this placed in there, because there's a little well, or there's a little moat, and I placed this in here, then I pushed down until it popped into place, and then I was good to go. So I hope that walking you through it, I wish I had, as I said, I'm not going to reshoot it. But I think you can follow the instructions that I gave you. And yeah, you can kind of see why I discontinued this shear. If you think we ought to bring it back, let me know. But if it's too hard for me to deal with a screw or deal with a shear, I know it's going to be hard for some of you. So it's the KISS, keep it simple, stupid.